It so happens that I'm in India, and the last thing I want to talk about would be Indian football. The country with 1.4 billion population still doesn't manage to select the best 25 players in football. Now, what do I actually call this? My father actually is a huge fan of Indian football. I, on the other side, lost complete interest in Indian football. There was a time when I used to watch the ISL, the Indian football play, and now I do not have anything. What's really going wrong with Indian football? Today I want to talk something much closer to my home, Indian football. Welcome back to Blue Nation TV. I am Derek. On this channel I talk about football. Most importantly, I talk about my favorite club, Chelsea. But today I thought I'll do an episode on Indian football. So if you're new here, please do subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment, let me know how this channel is, let me know if anything I need to improve. I'm open to positive criticism. This channel is not only about me, but this is also about you, where we could discuss about football, where we could have lovely discussions, and I'm looking forward to it. And if you've already subscribed to this channel, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends. This is one of the most uncomfortable videos I will ever make, because we keep asking the same question over and over again. Why can't India become a footballing nation? We blame the AIFF, we blame the government, we blame the ISL, we blame the clubs, we blame the coaches, we blame the players, and yes, some of those criticisms are fully justified. But I want to ask another question to us Indians, and this question is also to me, being an Indian. Are we, the Indian football fans, also a part of this problem? I'll explain to you why we are, so stay tuned till the end, because I have to be honest with you today. I'm Indian, and even I don't watch Indian football team as much as I have to do it. Sometimes I know more about the club that I support, the Chelsea Football Club. I know their next opponent, I know who their players are, I know who they are going to sign, I know who is their coach, I know what is the backroom staff they have, but what do I actually know about Indian football? Nothing. And maybe this is part of a problem. Let's look at the reality here. India is currently ranked 138 in the FIFA Men's World Ranking, that is for football. Back in 2023, India were ranked around 100, and we didn't qualify for the 2027 Asian Cup. India finished the Asian Cup qualifiers with just 5 points from 6 matches. We lost to Singapore, we lost to Bangladesh, and although we finished the campaign with a win over Hong Kong, it wasn't enough. Now let's think about it for a while. A country more than 1 billion people, a country where football is hugely popular in states like Goa, Kerala, West Bengal, the Northeast, Punjab, and many other parts of country, and yet internationally we're going backwards. So what happened? I want to take you to a time where I was a kid. I was in a boarding home, and the only sport what we loved was football. And you know, if I didn't get selected even for my school team, it was so much of a disappointment for me. Now, why am I telling you this example? I do not believe the kids nowadays are really motivated to actually be selected in a team. Maybe just make it to your school team. We're not really motivated there. You know, as and when I was growing up, even I gave up that dream, saying I'm not really worried about whether I'm getting selected or no, and I just wanted to move on and focus on other things. See, I've lost my passion for football there. Now let's talk about the Indian Super League. I don't want this video to be like a bashing for ISL. When ISL started in 2024, it was really exciting. Man, wow, what a vibe. The state where I was in, Goa, there were honks, people wearing the jerseys, I gifting my dad a football jersey, There were flags around, there were flags on the cars. The environment was electric. For a while, I thought Indian football had finally entered a different world. Big names, big investors, stadiums redeveloped, big television numbers. If you've seen, the first ISL attracted a lot of viewership, enormous audience. The opening week alone reached about 170 million viewers, and the inaugural season was reported around 429 million TV viewers. That's huge. The average audience size in the stadium was about 24,000. For a country that had struggled to make domestic football commercially relevant, this was super massive for us. The vision was actually brilliant. Create a professional league, bring football closer to mainstream, improve infrastructure, create heroes for Indian football, develop young players, and commercially make football a serious sports property. The ISL was actually supposed to be a vehicle that drew forward Indian football. And for a while, I actually thought it would work. And fast forward for today, 2026, the ISL has gone through one of the biggest crises in the footballing history. The FSDL partnership ended, the league's commercial structure went through uncertainty, the 2025-2026 season delayed drastically, and at one point of time, clubs were warning that they could potentially shut down. When the league finally returned in 2026, the commercial value of ISL had taken a massive hit. The media rights, which were at 276 crores previously, got down to 8.62 crore for the 2026 season. Now, mind you, this is not a small drop. This is one of a gigantic warning sign. Now, if you've seen, the league has moved to a club-led commercial model. The 14 ISL clubs which are taking part have taken the responsibility for the commercial side, while AIFF retains the administrative oversight. Actually, this could become something positive, but here's the problem. The Football League cannot survive simply because somebody wants it to survive. It needs money, it needs sponsors, it needs broadcasters, it needs fans, it needs stadium, it needs a strong calendar, it needs children watching, and most importantly, it needs people believing that Indian football is worth investing in. And this brings me to something that literally happened last week, Jamshedpur FC. What makes this story even more incredible is what happened next. Churchill brothers from Goa have acquired Jamshedpur FC's license for a symbolic ₹100. Now, if I talk in dollars, it would be $1, close to $1. If I talk in dirhams, it would be somewhere close to about 5 dirhams, I believe. Yes, 100 rupees. Now, this is what Churchill brothers is actually going to do. Churchill brothers will take over the ISL license from Jamshedpur FC and also retain the contracts of the 12 players and 2 coaches. Now, don't misunderstand this. This isn't a story about one club replacing another. It tells us something much more bigger. Indian football is changing hands. A major corporate institution like Tata Steel is walking away from ISL club, and an old football institution like Churchill brothers is coming back into the top flight. That is fascinating, no doubt, and honestly, a little sad. If you're younger and you know Indian football only through ISL, you might look at Churchill brothers and say, who are they? What do they exactly do? And that's why the story really matters. Churchill brothers were not some random club that appeared out of nowhere. This is one of Goa's historic football clubs. The club was formed in 1988. They won the I-League twice in 2008, 2009 and 2012 and 2013 season. They won the Durand Cup 3 times. They won the Federation Cup in 2014. These are the clubs that built Indian football even before ISL actually existed. Churchill brothers were a part of Indian football culture that existed long before big television product came along, and now they're coming back as a go, and I'm really proud of it. But there's the irony. They didn't get promoted to ISL in the traditional manner. Their route back has come through acquiring license from Jamshedpur FC, and that tells me how Indian football is structured. The line between sporting merit and commercial structure has become incredibly complicated. Churchill brothers had already won the 2024 and 25 I-League season, and they have been in the legal dispute over their promotion. Now they get into ISL in a complete different manner. You can say a backdoor entry. So I want to ask you, Indian fans, is this something good for Indian football? Or does it just show us that Indian football still doesn't know what it wants at the top of its pyramid? Now recently, there was a lot of buzz with Mr. Ranjit Bajaj. I really like the work, what he's been doing at grassroots, how he represents India, how he supports the talents in Indian football. I really love his energy. I really love his dream. Now this is where I want to be very careful, because I respect what the man is actually trying to do. He spent years talking about grassroots football. He built Minerva. He has been obsessed by producing young Indian footballers, and his big project of representing India in 2034 World Cup. Minerva's own program is built around preparing young players with the dream of getting India to the 2034 World Cup. And look at what happened this year. Minerva's under-15 team beat Liverpool 6-0 at Mediterranean International Cup. That's something what we actually cannot ignore. Whatever you think about Ranjit Bajaj, the man clearly believes that Indian children can compete internationally if they receive the right environment. I completely agree with him. And this is where the recent controversy becomes really interesting. AIFF opened application for the under-15 head coach positions. The role was listed for 3-month contract period, and Ranjit Bajaj became highly involved in the conversation of taking charge of the project. Eventually, there was a breakdown over the role and the conditions around it. And this is where I want to ask you an uncomfortable question. Was Ranjit Bajaj right to stand his ground, or was it foolish of him to walk away from an opportunity that could influence Indian football? I can see the both sides. Let's say you are Ranjit Bajaj. You spend years building your own system. You believe you have a plan. You have your own coaches. You have your own methods. You developed your own program. You've been talking about 2034 dream for years. And then someone says, come and manage the under-15 Indian football team. You might think, finally, give me the responsibility and let me prove it. If you don't have enough control over the project, what happens? If the system doesn't work, people blame you. If the players don't develop, they blame you. If India fails, they blame you. So maybe his position is, if you want me, give me the responsibility to actually do the job. I understand that. Now let's turn the argument around. Your ultimate goal as Ranjit Bajaj is to improve the Indian football. So as Ranjit Bajaj, would you ever say no? Because imagine if Ranjit Bajaj had taken up the opportunity. Imagine he walked at AIFF and said, fine, I disagree with you. I don't trust your system. I'm going to work inside it because the Indian boys matter to me more than my ego. That could have been really powerful. Maybe he could have influenced the system from inside. Maybe he could have proved his methods are good. Maybe he could have built a relationship therein. And just maybe he could have changed something. And that's my concern. Indian football has too many people fighting against each other. AIFF versus the clubs, clubs versus AIFF, ISL versus I-League, old football versus the new football, one coach versus another. Everybody believes that they know the answer for it. But meanwhile, Indian football keeps losing. Indian football keeps losing time. And time is one thing that young footballers do not have in India. Now, this is why I feel India is stuck in the past. This is the biggest problem what we have. We keep looking for one person, one coach, one superstar, one league, one federation president, one billionaire, one academy, one miracle generation. But football doesn't work like that. Look at Japan. Look at South Korea. Look at the development in Australia. Look at how European countries have built their systems. You don't build a football nation by winning just one football tournament. You don't build it by signing one foreign player. You got to build it over decades. They say Rome wasn't built in one day. So, with a grassroots football, qualified coaches, school football, academies, competitive youth leagues, proper scouting, sports science, nutrition, facilities, good domestic competitions, good governance, and most importantly, culture of football. And now I have to blame myself. This is probably the most important part of this video. I'm going to be honest here. I am part of Indian football not succeeding. I'm Indian. I love football. I can talk about Chelsea for hours. I know the transfers, I know the managers, I know the Premier League players, I know what is happening in England right now. But how often do I sit and watch Indian football leagues? How often do I watch Churchill brothers? How often do I follow Indian youngsters? How often do I go to Indian football matches? How often do I share Indian football content? And if I'm not doing those things, why would a major company invest millions of dollars in Indian football? This is where we have to be honest. We want Indian football to be commercially successful without behaving like consumers of Indian football. We want sponsors, but we don't buy. We want broadcasters, but we don't watch. We want clubs, but we don't attend their games. We want stars, but we don't follow them. We want India at the World Cup, but sometimes we don't even know when India is playing. That's uncomfortable, but that's the truth. As a youngster, I remember one thing. Baiching Bhutia, it still gives me a glow. Man, that footballer was amazing. I know Bruno from Goa. I went to one of his facilitation ceremony in Kalangut ground when I was in the boarding. I think that was for Arjuna Award. He had a broken leg, but meeting that player was so amazing. In fact, when I was a youngster, he came and trained us, and that's a privilege for me. And that Chetri, I can remember them, and I do not know any more players other than them. Maybe I'm living in the past, but I do not have anything to look forward to or to explore new players of Indian football. And that's the concern we have today as an Indian. So let's look at it like this. Why has cricket become successful so commercially in India? Now let's compare our football with the Indian cricket. Cricket in India has something that football in India hasn't completely built. A massive commercial ecosystem for cricket. IPL is just not a competition. It's entertainment. It's television, it's advertising, it's celebrity, the social media, fantasy sports, the merchandise, its sponsorship, the stadiums, the families watching together, the children wanting to be the next superstars. The Indian cricket ecosystem has created a product that people consume constantly. Football in India needs to understand something. Commercial success doesn't come because you deserve it. Commercial success comes because people want your product. And Indian football has to make people want that product. So what do we actually do? I don't think the answer is very complicated. We need to start small. If you're a football fan in India, watch the ISL game, watch an I-League game, watch the Indian national team, follow an Indian player, go to the stadium, buy a jersey, take your child to a football academy, talk about Indian football, share Indian football, support your local club. Don't only celebrate when India win. Don't make the captain of Indian football team plead to you to come to the stadium to watch them. Support them even when they lose and demand better people to run the Indian football. Because supporting Indian football doesn't mean blindly trusting the AIFF. It doesn't mean blindly supporting the ISL. It doesn't mean supporting Ranjit Bajaj. It doesn't mean blindly supporting a club. It means supporting the idea of Indian football and demanding that everyone involved with it makes the sport better in India, makes the football in India better. So this is where I want to finish with a question. India has more than 1 billion people. We have football loving states. We have historic clubs. We have the ISL. We have the I-League. We have some beautiful academies producing young talents. We have a few Indian players playing abroad in the lower divisions. We have massive corporations. We have millions of people who love football. And yet we are ranked 138 in the world. We couldn't qualify for the 2027 Asian Cup. Our top league has been fighting through a commercial crisis. And now a historic club like Churchill Brothers is returning ISL through the acquisition of Jamshedpur FC's license. So, can India become a football powerhouse? Can football ever become what cricket is in our country? I don't know. But I do know one thing. It's not going to happen by waiting for somebody to fix it. Not the AIFF, not the government, not the Tatas, not the Reliance, not the ISL, not Ranjit Bajaj, not the players, not the coaches. It's us, the fans. Because maybe the biggest change Indian football needs isn't another league. It's not about another star. It's not about another billionaire. Maybe it's only about millions of Indian fans finally deciding, you know what, I'm going to care about our own football. And that's a thought I want to leave you with. India doesn't need to stop loving cricket. We just need to start loving football too. I'm Indian. I'm a football fan. And honestly, I know I can do more. Can you? This is Blue Nation TV. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, goodbye. Mogaso.